Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spoil Your Baby podcast. I'm very excited to have my friend Tracy Gillett here again. Tracy and I are always chatting behind the scenes, having lots of fun together, and so it's always so nice to be together. So, welcome, Tracy.
Oh, thank you so much, Korea. And I'm so grateful for your friendship. And yeah, you're right. We're always in the background going, what do you think about this? Help me with that. So yeah.
How do we get all this? How do we get all this good stuff out to parents? Right? That's always the struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the feedback that comes from parents who tune in and the confidence that it builds, the inspiration, the empowerment, the sheer amount of education that comes out of it. It's a real week where we get to celebrate parenting this way. I think that was one of the biggest things for me as a new mom. I was like, am I the only one doing this? Am I the only one breastfeeding my 2-year-old or my 3-year-old? Am I the only one bed sharing? And that's really where Raise Good started. And I get so many emails and DMs and comments from people who, when they find what I share, they're suddenly like, oh, I can breathe. Like, it's not just me. So it's a real week to come together and just celebrate. Like, yeah, there are mothers and fathers all over the world parenting like this, and we are not the only ones. All of the research that's there, all of the experts that are there that can really bring some solid grounding into why we're parenting this way. I think when science meets instinct, it's this magic that happens. And suddenly mothers can start to trust their intuition, even when they don't fully know why something feels right. When that science is there to back them up, I think it can make the world of difference, especially in the world that we live in right now.
We can learn something from these people at all stages of our parenting journey. And I think what you talked about earlier of like creating both a celebration and a community for parents who are, have a natural parenting style is so important, because I hear this from moms all the time. I'm the only one who's doing it this way, and you can lose so much confidence. You can lose so much. You can just question everything so much if you really feel like you're the only one. And I think coming, to the summit every year and just connecting with, there's thousands of people who are coming to learn and connect with each other. It's so important to strengthen natural parenting.
Yeah. It's that confidence piece. And if people have heard me before, they often hear me talking about James Clear and his book, Atomic Habits, because in that he shares an experiment that started in the 1950s with a man named Solomon Asch. And he did this experiment with students where he would show them different length lines and ask them which two are the same. And so they would pick the two that were the same, but they had planted actors in the experiment who would intentionally choose the wrong answer. And he would watch the students looking around at each other like, oh, shoot, have I chosen the wrong one? And a large proportion of them would change their answer to the wrong answer just to be with the crowd. And then when they were asked about it afterwards, they said things like, well, I saw everybody else doing this, so I thought they must know something I don't know, or they must be smarter than me. And then they repeated the experiment, putting people in who were choosing the correct answer, and just having one or two other people there who were in alignment with how they were feeling gave them the confidence to keep going with their answer, right? And so for me, I think even if you can have one person in real life who's parenting the same way as you, it can just give you the confidence to be like, yeah, I got this. Like, we can keep doing it this way. But it's hard in real life now too. And we have lost the village, and we can recreate it in ways like this. I wish I could just be in a room and have a coffee with every single person at the summit. But this is like amazing to just give parents confidence to be like, yeah, if I want to breastfeed my 18-month-old or my 4-year-old, I'm going to go in ahead and do it because I've seen all these other people doing it. Or if I want a bed chair, I'm going to do it. Or if I don't want to use a timeout because it feels like I'm going to break connection with my kid, then I'm not going to do it. If I'm interested in homeschooling, I've seen other people doing it. It's not crazy. So yeah, it's just giving people the confidence to, I don't want parents to parent how I parent. I want to give them the confidence and light a path to say there is another way. And I want them to parent consciously how they want to parent. And when we do that, I think real magic can happen. Society is telling us how we should parent our kids. They're telling us to sleep train. They're telling us to put them in timeouts, use punishments, threats, consequences, squash the behavior. And it's very hard to get off that path. And so that's why things like this summit are amazing because it helps to get you off that path and say, look, there's another way to do it.
Yeah, that like just leads me right into giving a bit of a teaser of my talk, because all of the things that you just said are using a child's nervous system against them, basically, in a lot of ways, right? You're looking at behavior, you're not looking at the state of their nervous system, you're not understanding their stress states, their safety states, how they learn, how they, eventually do know what behaviors are, pro-social and which ones are destructive in some ways, right? And, our little ones are going to take many years to learn all of this. But we do have to start with that understanding of their nervous system. That's like my biggest message. And so I'm so happy to contribute that to the summit this year for parents, for new parents, and also parents of even 12-year-olds, right? Like it's never too late to start to understand the stress system and how that develops in your baby and child.
We're talking about breastfeeding beyond babyhood, but the main thing that she's really focusing in on this year is how breastfeeding affects our relationships.
Cool.
And I think that's super important because that can be one of the biggest obstacles to mothers continuing, beyond whatever is acceptable by society.
So relationships like with partners,
with
and
in-laws,
and all that kind of stuff. Interesting.
Yeah.
I was gonna say breastfeeding relationship is like such a hot topic in my family. Like between mother and baby. Like I breastfed my son till he was 3. We still talk about it. He had a word for it. Some babies, if you're not continuing past 6 months, 12 months, which is the norm, right? If people do, they're not able to like have the memories and have the word for it and all these beautiful things, not to mention all the other benefits.
Yeah.
But now I've got my nieces. I just spent 2 weeks with my nieces, and the younger one is breastfeeding. She's coming up on 3 as well. And she gets so excited to be like, I got to have boobies and a nap. Like the best part of her day. Yeah, it's just such an important part of that relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know. I often say, this was my biggest surprise. This is my biggest surprise, like bed sharing and EC, but breastfeeding, that was huge. And I've shared before, I remember going to my naturopath when my son was 3 months old, and she was like, how long are you going to breastfeed for? And I said, oh, maybe 12 months. And she was like, go to 2 years if you can.
Oh, good. And
but he won't be a baby anymore. And she was like, he'll always be your baby. Yeah. And so we breastfed well beyond 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And at that point, I was like, I'm like David Attenborough here. I'm going to see how long this can, like, what does it look like in the wild?
Yeah.
When do, milk teeth are called milk teeth for a reason? I've got a blog post on, natural weaning age, like, when can it go to? And again, it's like to celebrate all lengths of breastfeeding.
Yes.
If you consciously choose to not breastfeed at all, or if you breastfeed for a day or for a month or for a year or for 5 years, it should all be celebrated and supported. And I think, it blindsided me because I hadn't seen that many people in real life breastfeeding.
Mhm.
And so it was new to me. And I was thinking about it before we got on the podcast. It was really new to my husband. Like, he wasn't expecting us
Mhm.
to breastfeed that long.
Yeah.
But and so being able to, listen to Danielle and figure out how can we talk about this in relationship with others so that the obstacles that come up in those relationships don't prematurely end your breastfeeding journey.
Yeah.
So that you're not ending it for somebody else.
Yes.
It should be between mother and baby, right? However
Yeah.
old that baby is.
Completely.
And yeah, I'm the same with you. I'm like, man, my son as well, we can still talk about it. It's a part of motherhood that I think is really, I mean, in the 1950s, they say breastfeeding was nearly extinct in most Western
Yeah.
cultures.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's such a loss. It's about so much more than nutrition. It's not.
It's like the last thing on the list. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it was also important because you never had to pack any snacks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know how I would have got through motherhood.
Really?
Yeah. I can imagine
Yeah.
getting through meltdowns without it.
No idea.
Yeah,
No
I
idea.
don't know.
That's why I think it's so important to plant that seed that in young moms and parents that it could go, to be
Yeah.
open to it,
Yeah.
being a full-term
Yeah.
experience. And this turned out to be such a great talk. Got to talk about breastfeeding and and bed sharing and all the good things. So it made my day too.
Yeah. Oh, it's always
Awesome.
lovely chatting with you, my
All right.
friend.
Well, we'll have you back on the podcast soon.
Sounds good.